My name is Malcolm Mackenzie. I'm one of the partners in the Nanaga Farming Trust.
My name's Richard Newcomb and I represent Thornycroft Farm Trust in the Nanaga Farming Trust Partnership.
Hi, I'm Werner Buchner, dairy farmer from the Eastern Cape area.
Hi, I'm Alistair Broadbent. I'm also a partner in the NFT dairy business.
Nanaga Farming Trust, or NFT as we call it, was put together in June 2009, largely as a result of a drought that we were experiencing in our area. We had discussed the possibility of merging with neighbours before, but the drought really pushed us over the edge.
We formalised our partnership where we threw in all our assets into a holding company.
The main reason in forming that this entity was an attempt to, get proper scale of economies, and also to be able to utilise the different skill sets that exist between the partners in this business.
One of our dairies was a swingover. We had 4 dairy farms, being Nanaga Farm, Boslachter, Springmount and Thornycroft. Thornycroft had a swingover and the other 3 dairies all had rotaries, and Thornycroft at the time were looking at changing their swingover to a rotary. So we suggested that we close down that dairy and put the rest of the cows into the other 3 dairies, and then utilise that farm to run our followers. And then Richard, who is our partner from Thornycroft, would look after all the followers that went there and also run all of our machines.
My division takes care mainly of all the equipment and the harvesting, and most of the any machine work or harvesting or planting on the different farms, and as well as raising the heifers, taking them from 6 months up to the point of calving, when they get distributed back to the milking farms.
I myself look after the financial side of the business. I came from a financial background and have, apart from the financial side, also look after the dairy. So one of the other partners, as mentioned, Richard, looks after our machines. Werner Buchner looks after the business as a whole, and Alistair oversees the dairy operation in its entirety.
A big focus for NFT is producing milk off grass and grass only. Things like orange peel, pulp in the season, lucerne, those sort of products we have eliminated as far as possible. The one farm at Nanaga itself is still run with a portion of the herd on TMR, where use is made of various byproducts from the breweries, etc. And the other 2 dryland farms are purely grass-fed and concentrate. We haven't bought lucerne on those 2 farms for probably about 3 years, if I'm correct.
I think one of the big factors in our success is that we've actually got to a point where, when we got together, where we decided we are going to farm in this area, and we need to realise the restrictions that exist, and we need to farm within that. Starting point from that is, obviously, we were milking cows that weren't suited to the area, weren't suited to the quality of roughage that we produce. So we've embarked on a process whereby we are getting to much smaller cows, quite a big crossbreeding program, and quite a large Jersey component. The main reason for that is the fact in our areas is that we face sort of yearly short-term droughts, and also we face fairly severe long-term droughts. And the only way to mitigate that risk is that we need to produce enough fodder in the times where the rainfall is sufficient, and we need to conserve that. We conserve that for the times where rainfall's not that great.
We're milking about 5,000 cows. roughly about 1,000 cows in each of the dairies, and then about 1,200 cows in Addo on an irrigation system, low-cost irrigation system. And then about the moment, a newly leased dairy, we're milking about 250 to 300 cows.
We utilize the 3 dairy farms with the heifer rearing farm here at Nanaga, in the Nanaga area, as a base whereby we grow into other farms, and we're focusing largely on irrigation ground, where we look to partner with landowners where we can milk cows. We'll supply the cattle and the management, and we look to partner farmers where we can milk cows on irrigation.
We've been able to expand into an irrigation farm, which is a perfect complement to our dryland business, where we just milk there. We have no followers and no dry cows, and we stock that farm according to the growth rate. So if they need more cattle, we send cattle there, and when they dry off, they send them back to us.
I think the other thing that we're not going to focus on, that we are focusing on, is to specialize more and more and get the business as simple as possible. What I mean by saying that is we want to consolidate all the heifer rearing into a single entity, whereby relieving that management input from the dairy side as well, where guys can focus on less and less jobs, and each guy focusing on less and less jobs can be more professional at what he does.
Each year the budgets are formulated, we track them monthly. We have a monthly financial meeting where everybody's budget, the 3 dairies or 4 dairies budgets are analysed. In formulating our budgets, we make them milk price neutral, so we don't budget on an increase or decrease. We obviously think that the other factors will come in line with that as the milk price goes up and down. A serious consideration when we put this business together was the fact that we realized we needed to be low-cost producers to be able to survive in marginal areas. So having come from TMR systems, or systems where we brought a lot of feed into the business, we realized that we needed to produce our own roughage on a big scale. Even though it was poor quality roughage, we could still produce it cheaply in the good times, and that could be fed back to the cows regardless of the litres that we got out of the cows.
In the group, we allow ourselves to have individuality, which allows us to run each division within a framework of a combined goal.
But from the financial side, we sit down and we monitor that according to numbers, and where we don't get involved in the day-to-day running of the dairy. If there are problems, we sit together as a group, 4 heads better than one, and just try and identify where the bottlenecks are and what we can do in a specific area where we're struggling, which has really added benefit to our business.
When you're farming on your own, it's quite easy to wake up in the morning and validate why you think you should disc this land or buy that tractor or do something like that. But in a business such as this, you've got 3 other guys that you're accountable to. You need to have quite solid reasons why you want to spend a certain amount of money, and obviously you need to back that up with the results.
And I think as the business has grown, we've now got to a point where we're starting to create new possibilities for new entrants, and that sort of thinking of our children going forward. I think that's one of the really big important part of our business, is that we're now creating a business where an individual doesn't need to come back farming and he needs to be a dairy farmer, a heifer rearer, a tractor fixer and all of that. So we're going to be in a position quite soon where some of our sons can come back and maybe be the financial manager in the business, or we might even get to the point where it could be the animal nutritionist or a vet or whatever. So in terms long term, I think we're creating lots of opportunities for our kids, and if any one of them does not want to be involved in the farm, they can still have a share in a fairly nice dairy business.
Part of our expansion plans are to grow by not acquiring land. We want to partner preferably black landowners, and where we would bring the cattle and the management and partner them. We want to be fully BEE accredited to be able to unlock funding for these partnerships and to continue growing in that manner.
In terms of succession planning, we've got people working here that if a bus were to ride over me tomorrow, this business wouldn't stand still. If you're a sole proprietor and if something happens to you, you're incapacitated or anything happens, there's a good chance your business might end. Whereas with this business, it won't happen.
We realize that national consumption grows between 2 and 3%, and therein lies the problem for us, because we need to grow at a greater percentage than that. So as part of the expansion, we realized that part of our milk that we produce needs to leave the country. So we will also actively pursue export initiatives and support milk processors that are following those initiatives.
I think Malcolm has already mentioned we've got a very ambitious growth plan going forward. It's probably more ambitious than what is practically possible, but I think what's important is if you don't set quite good goals, it's quite tough to, or if it's too easy to reach, then you lose focus quite easily. I think on top of that, we've taken the decision as a group that we belong in South Africa. We're going to be part of this country, and we want to be part of the solution in the problems that do exist in this country. So in general, we don't focus on stuff we can't control. We focus on solving problems, we focus on finding solutions, and we firmly believe that we're going to play a part in finding solutions for the country as a whole.